All right, here we go. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Marvel Comics Sales and Solicits podcast, episode number 5. This is going to be January 2019 sales. I'm a little behind here, but I figured I'd pump January out anyways because after looking at things, it looks like a whole bunch of number ones came out that we'll then use for reference next month in the February show. So, without any hesitation, we're going to get right into things here today. Go through the top Marvel books, just Marvel here for the month. And we're going to start things off with Captain Marvel. This is issue 1 of the series. Started with, I think Kelly Thompson is on this book. So it's a $4.99 issue, being issue number 1. And that is estimated sales of 111,391 issues. I'm sorry. Brain is still working here. I'm going to open this soda pop to aggravate Dancing Mike there. Not a Coke, it's a Dr. Pepper. But yeah, there's nothing to compare this to. I didn't want to do the mini series since this is seemingly a main series, and I didn't want to throw that in there for comparison's sake. And there were a whole bunch of variants with this being, timed around the movie coming out. So we'll see what it compares to issue 2 next month and how far it drops. But from there, it ended up, I guess, kind of beating. No, Batman Who Laughs, I think. I got this little blurb here about why this ended up being number 2 in the rankings overall, but number 1 in dollar rank, despite being the same price as Batman Who Laughs, which is also $4.99, but had more sales. So Batman Who Laughs number 2 was the first place in units, while Captain Marvel number 1 was first in dollars. While both comics were identically priced, Batman Who Laughs sold 5,436 more copies in North America. The fact that Captain Marvel led in dollars means retailers must have received, on average, a better discount on the DC title. So that explains why Batman Who Laughs was number 1 in overall rank, selling more issues, but number 2 in dollar value. Meanwhile, Captain Marvel had the vice versa thing going on there. They were number 2 in rank and number 1 in dollar value. And then that's the reason why I thought that was interesting. So I'm throwing that in there just to let everybody know, the asterisks there behind the numbers. Then the next Marvel book falls to number 3, and that is also number 3 in dollar value. Is the first issue of Donny Cates' start on Guardians of the Galaxy. That sold 104,000 copies. Almost 105,000. So yeah, I didn't compare it to issue 150 of the Guardians relaunch, but we'll see, where that goes to next month as well. Then we got the next book popping up here, which is Conan the Barbarian, which also had 2 issues come out this month. So we'll see that pop up again on these charts way down the list later on. But that first initial issue sold 100,963 copies. So yeah. The Marvel start on Conan got off on the right foot, and then I think settles into what it's going to be like going forward when issue 2 drops later in the month here, and we'll get to that when we get to it on the chart. The number 5 overall book for the month and number 5 in overall dollar value was Amazing Spider-Man. That was issue number 14, which actually had a big bump from issue 13. So this issue, 4th Marvel book and 5th overall for the month, was 91,697 as far as estimated sales go. It had an increase from the previous issue also within this month of 34,567. And as Simon mentioned in the Slack chat, he found this also interesting because it's a 38% jump within the month. Number 14 is tied to a J. Scott Campbell variant cover. So that's, I guess, the reason for the boost for number 14, because 13 was much lower on, well, not much lower, but 30,000 less almost in sales. But moving on here, we're rounding out the top 5 for Marvel of the month on the number 10 overall book. Number 6 in overall dollar value because it was a $4.99 number 1 issue, and that is Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. That sold 78,021 copies. Nothing to compare that to. Previously, I should have probably looked up Spectacular Spider-Man and where that started. Chip Zdarsky's run there, but I didn't, so sue me. Then the number 6 book for Marvel, number 12 overall for the month, and 14 as far as dollar value goes was Fantastic Four issue number 6. That sold 67,167 copies, 11,155 less than the previous month. And if I'm not mistaken, this was the pretty good issue with Doctor Doom where he made his appearance. I could be wrong. That could be issue 7, but that's almost a 17% drop from the previous month that series came out. Then we move on to the next issue of Amazing Spider-Man, which was number 13. And this is the one that came in lower because it didn't have any variant gimmicks with it. And I compared it to what it came in at last month. So it's not compared to this issue and how much it, is gone up or down. So it comes in at 66,396 estimated sales to comic shops in North America. That's 8,759 less than the previous month, a 14% drop from December for the Amazing Spider-Man. So I don't know if this is the Chris Bachalo run that's, making everyone drop it because they weren't enjoying the art or whatever the case may be. But Spider-Man sales, when J. Scott Campbell isn't tied to variant covers, seem to be dropping quickly. 66,000 isn't that great for Spider-Man. It's supposed to be Marvel's Batman, so we'll see what people are saying about Nick Spencer's run. It seems generally positive from I get yelled at generally when I hate it, so we'll see. I don't know if other people agree with me. They're just being quiet. If you agree with me, let me know, because I feel like I'm dying on an island alone over here. But yeah, Venom is the next book of the month. That's 16 overall on the charts, 17th overall for dollar value. Issue number 10 of Donny Cates' run, $3.99 book, sold 58,823. That's 5,226 less than the previous month, an 8.88% drop in sales from December. Moving on here, we got Return of Wolverine. It's a mouthful here. I got my dry mouth. I'm going to take a sip of pop real quick. All right, so we got Return of Wolverine, the 17th overall book of the month as far as sales go. Number 20 overall as far as dollar value goes. This was a $3.99 book, issue number 4 of a 5-issue miniseries. Sold 58,560 compared to issue number 3, which came out in November. That is 2,752 less than the previous issue, and a 4.70% drop. So kind of a steady crowd reading that book, although it's not great. I'm one of those in that crowd, the crowd that hated the book but kept buying it because it's my boy Wolverine and he's back. So I wanted to see why, how, and at least it led into Wolverine Infinity Watch, which at least seems to be a step forward in my eyes. And we'll see where we go from there in issue 2 coming out soon. Rounding out the top 10 for Marvel this month, and the 20th overall book on the charts, 24th in terms of dollar value, was Avengers issue number 12. It's a $3.99 title. Sold 52,427 in estimated sales to comic shops. Nationwide, 393 less issues than the previous month, less than a 1% drop. So a pretty steady crowd reading Jason Aaron's run on Avengers. And then we get into this uncanny X-Men craziness, where the X-Man issues, the weekly series, wraps up and ends. So the highest of that series to sell that month was issue 10, the closing and the wrap up of everything, where X-Man took everybody to this apocalyptic X-Man future. That issue was a $4.99 book, issue 10 of the weekly series, 21st overall in the charts, 13th in terms of dollar value because it was $4.99. Not sure if I said that already. I'm kind of doing this out of order from how I usually do it to keep track of things. 52,365 in terms of sales, 5,799 more than the penultimate issue that came out also within the same month. So I just compared it to every previous issue. As far as this weekly series goes, that was 11% bump within the month, and I should have compared it to the last issue of the previous month, but I did that with issue 8 of the series, I think, or issue 7. Is there an issue 7? I don't know. This weekly stuff makes me lose track, but that's how I did the numbers. Each sequential X-Men issue is compared to the issue that came before it, as terms of positive or negative um, bump in numbers go. The next X-Men book to come out falls just under number 10 is number 8. It's 23 in the overall charts, 29 in terms of dollar value. Uncanny X-Men number 8, as I said, 399 that one was. It sold 51,292, 1,328 more issues than the previous issue, which was number 7 from the previous month. So 7 from the previous month was basically I don't know, around 50,000 flat. So if you're looking for comparison's sake, from penultimate to the end of last month, it was a 2,000 bump, basically. So then we got it's a 3% bump from compared to issue 7 from the end of the previous month. I'm being very confusing with this Uncanny X-Men stuff. I apologize. And we got the next issue of Avengers coming in at number 26 for the month, 31 overall. So that's number 13 in the series, 49,517. That's 2,910 less than number 12, which also came out in the month of January. So a 6% drop in the same month. Then we got another one of these Web of Venom Unleashed. This is kind of on the lower end of things compared to the Carnage one that dropped and sold pretty big. So Web of Venom Unleashed was the one with the dog on the cover, if I'm not mistaken. That's 27 overall for the month, 15 overall in terms of dollar value. It was a number one 499 issue, 47,906 in terms of estimated sales. I didn't really necessarily compare it as far as drop in sales or percentage wise goes, but if you're interested, Web of Carnage sold 104,000, I believe. So this one came in at 56,000 less. I'm not sure if people are just not interested in the dog venom version of things going on there, but it was essentially the symbiote just snooping around when separated from Eddie. Then we get another Uncanny X-Men issue. This was the penultimate in the series, number 9. That was 29 on the charts, 34 in dollar value ranking. 399 that book was. It sold 46,566, 4,726 less than the previous issue, number 8, which was a little higher up on those charts. So a 10% drop. Seems like the higher issue, the even issue sold a little better than the odd issues for whatever reason. I have no clue how that works. Then we got Thor. It pops in at 33 on the charts, 38 overall. It's number 9 in the issue as far as series goes. 399 book. This was 44,019 in terms of sales go. That's 2,324 less than the month of December and a 5.28% drop. We get into the X-Men stuff that came after Uncanny X-Men number 10. The first and highest on that list being Age of X-Men Alpha. So setting up that apocalyptic X-Men world. Came in at 35 on the charts, 25 overall in terms of dollar value goes. It's number 1 issue, so of course it costs $4.99 the Marvel way. That's a 42,022 issues sold to comic shops. I compared it to the end of the Uncanny X-Men story, so number 10, just for something, because we were hitting a lot that I couldn't compare things to. So, I reached for a few, I guess you could say. So this came in at 10,343 less than Uncanny number 10 in the same month. 25% drop in terms of people who read the end of that story to people who picked up kind of the beginning of the next story, which I don't know, you can say that's good or bad. You decide. I'm not going to reach an opinion out there because I'm a little jaded on these X-Men events and stuff. I'm enjoying the Wolverine and Cyclops stuff though, and like I said, Wolverine Infinity Watch hasn't been bad, so maybe I'm turning the corner a little bit. I also like X-Force, but we'll get there. Uncanny X-Men Annual was the other one that spun out of Uncanny X-Men 10. This continued the story of Cyclops, who's back from the dead and linking up with Wolverine. That is 36 on the charts, 26 overall, so just under Age of X-Men Alpha. 41,700 issues sold to comic shops. That was again a number 1 499 joint. 10,665 less than Uncanny X-Men number 10. I also compared this one to that one. That's 25% drop basically from the end of the series to people picking up the annual. And then the only Star Wars book I put on the charts is just the main series here. So I'll throw some numbers out for how well that's doing. That's 37 overall. And for the sales charts go 40 in terms of dollar value. 59th issue in the series, a 399 book, 41,655 copies are out there. 6,034, yeah, 6,034 less than last month, a 15% drop. Then we get Captain America sliding in. That's 39 overall, 43 in terms of dollar value. Number 7 overall in the series of Captain America, Tanishi Coates Run. That's a 399 book. 41,339 issues are sold out there to comic shops. 3,039 less than the previous month, a 7% drop in sales. And the Tanishi's Coates books are really on fire here, so you wonder if he's going to be coming off things soon enough. Then we get the 2 issues in the series of Immortal Hulk that came out this month, piggybacking behind each other. So they're 40 and 41 on the charts, number 11 and 12. 12 is a little higher than 11. Again, continuing the trend of, for whatever reason, the higher issues, the higher even issues doing a little better than their odd numbered counterparts. 41 and 45 in terms of dollar value goes. They were both 399. So number 12 sold 41,331, with 11 coming in at 41,010. So 11 compared to number 10 from the previous month is 2,219 less. But then number 12 jumps up a little bit to 321 more than 11 within the same month. So compared to the previous month, we have a slight drop, but still a steady crowd. It's only a 5% drop overall. And then it gets kind of a 1% bump within the same month. So about 4%, it's down from the previous month of December when you throw both books in, as far as looking at the overall picture. We got the second issue of Star Wars to come out in January. That is number 44 overall, 48 in terms of dollar value, 38,837 issues sold, 2,818 less than the previous issue within the same month, and 7% drop again within the same month. So there goes my trend I thought I spotted there. Issue 59 sold higher than 60 in this case for the Star Wars universe, but maybe Star Wars throws everything out the window. I don't know. I have previous sales charts all here on different tabs in my Excel doc, but it's nothing I care enough about to go back and look. But here's some interesting stuff. We then get the second issue of Conan to pop up in the month of January. Comes in at 46 overall in the charts, whereas the first issue came in at 4th overall. So big drop from issue 1 to 2. This is 52 in terms of dollar value. So 2 in the series sold 37,000, which is 67,010 issues less than its debut. Again, all this within the same month, so it's a 176% drop in sales. And that's probably more along the lines where Conan will hang out around 38 to 33,000. I think it'll probably settle at somewhere around there. Second issue of Superior Spider-Man that kicked off in December, came out in January. That is 47th overall in the charts, 53rd in terms of dollar value. It found a home in 37,684. Issues are out there in comic shops. 29,000 less than the previous month, a 77% drop from its debut. And we got the first issues of The Invaders, which I was surprised actually to find this low. This is one of my and Jim's favorite books currently coming out at Marvel. So the debut of this series, Invaders by Chip Zdarsky, a #1 issue for $4.99, sold 36,462. I did not compare that to anything else. We'll see how many issues of #2 are out there, because I know #1 did go to a second print. So maybe there won't be a huge drop. Maybe there will be even an increase in sales for 1 to 2. We'll see. That's rare, but we'll see. Then this Infinity Wars Infinity, I didn't also compare this to anything else because I don't know. I stopped reading this series. I stopped following it. I stopped paying attention to it. I didn't know if this was an epilogue or if this was just a tie-in wrapping up loose ends from some of the warp stories and what really to compare it to for that reason. So this was a number one, and actually a 399 number one. Comes in at 53 on the charts, 59 overall in terms of a dollar value, and probably the worst title for a Marvel comic ever. Infinity Wars Infinity is terrible. But yeah, 35,432 issues were out there. Yep, that's that. Then we move on to Tony Stark Iron Man, issue 7 in the series, 56. In terms of ranking and comic ranking, as sales go, and 63 in dollar value. 34,102 issues sold to comic shops, 1,774 less than the previous issue, which came out in November. This book skipped the month of December altogether, a 5% drop. We move on to Miles Morales, Spider-Man, number 2 issue in the series. So it also debuted in December, 57 overall, 64 in terms of dollar value, 33,955 issues out there, 23,534 less than the previous month, a 69.31% drop. So dropped a little less than Superior Spider-Man, but it seems like in general more interest in Superior Spider-Man than the Miles Morales book, which I don't know. That personally surprises me. Other people can let me know how they feel that possibly Doc Ock Spider-Man a little more popular out there than the current iterations of Miles, thrown into the current Marvel universe. I think people just enjoyed that character more when he was on his own, had his own world, his own adventures to deal with. Right now, he kind of feels lost without much of a purpose. But moving on, the 59th book of the month, 51 in terms of dollar value, was The Black Widow, issue number 1 of the series. This is a mini series by the Soska sisters. 33,853 issues out to comic shops. They did not compare this to anything, so we'll see how issue 2 does compared to issue 1 next month. But this is, in all honesty, probably one of my favorite Marvel books coming out right now. This is one of those mini series that has caught us off guard, and we've really enjoyed it. It is bonkers and crazy and like a violent action movie come to comic book pages. And just been a lot of fun so far. So, I recommend it. I'd like to see the Soska sisters and some future projects, possibly some Wolverine related stuff, because they've been really good. They seem to get Black Widow. Moving on, we got Doctor Strange coming in at number 60 for the month, 30 in terms of dollar value because it was an anniversary issue, I believe. Number 10 in the series, I think it was 400th issue of Doctor Strange overall. A $5.99 book for that reason, sold 33,603 copies, 5,766 more than the previous month, a 17% bump in sales. So Doctor Strange getting a bump for its anniversary. We have a whole bunch of Man Without Fear issues. The first issue of that series coming in at 62, number 66 overall in terms of dollar value. That was a $3.99 number 1. This was another weekly book. Came in at its debut around 33,237 issues. I have some numbers to compare the other issues this month to each other, but this one has nothing, being the debut. And we get the second issue of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, number 1, also coming out this month. And amazingly, this comes in under number 2 of Superior and the number 2 of Miles Morales. So the least popular of all those number 1s that have debuted recently as far as the Spider Family tree books are concerned. 63 overall in terms of sales, 69 overall in terms of dollar value, number 2 in the series, 32,430 issues, a 45,591 issue drop from number 1 within the same month, 140%. In terms of sales percentage goes. So yeah, as far as the new Spider-Man books, Superior, Miles Morales, and Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is the ranking in terms of popularity. So that's interesting, definitely interesting. I'd have to say I enjoy them, Superior the most, then Friendly, and then Miles I enjoy the least, if I had to rank them myself in terms of not sales, but just what I get out of them myself. Next book is X-Force, another book I'm having a good time with. Number 64 in terms of sales, 70 overall in terms of dollar value. This is number 2 in the series at 32,420 issues out to comic shops, 24,949 less than the previous month, a 75% drop. So that's kind of the same percentage drop as Superior had from number 1 to number 2. But that's, again, a series I've enjoyed. I've had a good time with. I like that team. Then we got Deadpool number 8 coming in at 65, 68 overall in terms of dollar value. Again, issue 8 in the series, 32,369 issues out to comic shops. 7,311 less than the previous month, a 23% drop. So a pretty substantial drop for Deadpool. And Scotty Young, I believe, has announced that he's leaving the book after 12. So we might get a Deadpool relaunch or maybe just a continuation with the new creative team. They haven't said anything yet beyond Scotty Young is leaving that I've heard, unless somebody wants to fill me in there. 68 overall on the charts, 73 in terms of dollar value is Dead Man Logan issue number 3, 31,113 out to shops, 3,728 less than the previous month, a 12% drop. That's, again, another book I like. I seem to like these ones that hover around 30,000, being my favorite books. We got the Champions relaunch, 71 overall on the charts, 74 in terms of dollar value. It was only a $3.99 number 1 issue, but only 30,893 issues went out to shops. That is a bump of 12,694 from the ending of the series the previous month, a 41% boost in terms of sales for that book. So you kind of see why they did the relaunch there. See if they could get some of these 12,000 new people possibly hooked. We'll see how that worked when issue 2 numbers come out next month. Then the debut of Marvel Comics Presents comes in at 72, 50 overall in the charts because that was a $4.99 number 1 issue. 30,698 issues went out. Nothing to compare that to because it's been a while since a Marvel Comics Presents book has been out on comic book shelves, but I really enjoyed that book as well. So again, proving my point. I like 30,000 books that sell in the 30,000 range. Man Without Fear issue 2, 4,594 less than the debut, coming in at 75 overall from the month and 81st in terms of dollar rankings. That's 4,000. I think I said that already. So 17% drop within the same month. Then we get Marvel Knights Conclusion. So the 20th anniversary issue Conclusion. Issue number 6 in that mini series, 76 overall, 60 in terms of dollar value because it was $4.99. So 27,852 people or comic shops bought that. Let me start that over, because I misinterpret this number as issues sold. This is issues distributed to comic shops, 27,852, 466 more than the penultimate issue, which also came out in this same month, a 2% boost, basically. We get Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider issue number 4, 77 overall in the charts, 83 in terms of dollar value, 27,721 issues out to shops, 1,295 less than the previous month, a 5% drop. Then this is the penultimate issue of Marvel Knights 20th, 78 overall, 84th in dollar value. Issue 5 in the series, 27,386 issues out to shops, 2,289 less than the previous month would be this issue's comparison, and that's a 9% drop. Man Without Fear issues 3, 4, and 5 are coming sequentially here at 79, 80, and 81 on the charts, 87, 89, and 92 in terms of dollar value. Their ranges in sales go from 27,209 to 26,892. So 3 sold 1,434 less than issue 2. 4 sold 317 less than issue 3. And then 5 sold 95 more than issue 4. So that's how all that works out to make sense. And let's see, I'll give you the percentage drops. 3 went down 6%. Actually, we'll give that rounding to 5% from issue 2, and then 4 went down another 1% from issue 3, and then 5 went up 0.35 percentage points from issue 4. So that's how that all works out. Again, moving on away from Man Without Fear, since that weekly series was 5 issues. X23 comes in at 86 on the charts, 94 overall in the dollar value measure value of things. Number 8 in the series, 25,980. Pretty steady crowd for that book, 954 less than the previous month, 4% drop. 2 issues of The Punisher came out this month. They again are sequentially in order on this list, 92 and 93. 98 and 100 in terms of dollar value goes. Both issues were $3.99, 6 and 7. 24,682 in terms of sales for issue 6, 5,224 less than the previous month, 21% drop. Issue 7 within the same month sold 391 less compared to issue 6, and that's a 1% drop within the same month. So a pretty steady crowd within the month, but a substantial drop overall from the previous month, 22% overall, almost 23%. Wolverine Long Night adaptation slides in at 96 overall on the charts, 79 in terms of dollar value because it was a $4.99 issue. This is the podcast, Wolverine Long Night podcast. This was the comic book adaptation, and then it debuted at 23,567 issues sold. And that was the only one that came out this month. So we'll see where issue 2 comes in. But I peeked at the first issue, and after listening to the podcast, I listened to that a while ago. And it to me, it seemed like almost a word for word retelling. I reached the halfway point and I just stopped. So I heard that story before. I wasn't interested in, seeing it play out in terms of pictures go. But if people enjoyed it, let me know. If it was different than the podcast, if you also listened to the podcast, let me know. Maybe I'll go back and peek at it. But the rounding out the top 100 is Tanishi Coates' run on Black Panther, 105 in terms of dollar value. It's number 8 issue in the series, 22,670 in terms of sales for Black Panther Go, which is not good at all, really, for that type of character. I would think it should be higher. 4,878 less than the previous month, a 22% drop in terms of sales go. And we got the other Black Panther book, Black Panther Deadpool, hot on its heels. That was 104 for the month overall in terms of sales, 108 in terms of dollar value go. This is another book me and Jim really enjoyed. It was kind of a blast to read. It was just a lot of fun, goofiness, silly jokes that really kind of hit the mark. 21,176 in terms of issues out to comic shops, 3,181, less than the previous month's issue, a 15% drop. Then some of these one shots Marvel did for the month. Crypt of Shadows came in at number 107, 111 overall in terms of dollar value. These were only $3.99 books. 20,299 issues went out. The third issue of the Black Order miniseries comes in at 111. That's 19,949 issues out there, 3,724 less than the previous month, a 19% drop. The conclusion to the Domino series comes in at number 112 on the charts. 19,655 issues out there to shops, 1,037 less than the previous month for Gail Simone's conclusion, and a 5% drop. Second follow-up issue in the Winter Soldier miniseries, 116 overall on the charts, 18,537 issues out there, 7,800 issues less than the previous month, 42% term, 42% percentage, 42% percentage. Good Lord. I'm getting number crazy here. I'm almost at the bottom of my list, and I start getting excited when you read through this many numbers at this point, and you start making no sense. Because you're excited, you're almost done, and you can then play Red Dead Redemption 2 again. Anyway, let's start this over. Winter Soldier's drop in percentage points was 42% from its debut issue, and then that's not a bad series. It's kind of on the low end of things sales wise, as far as this chart goes. Bottom half of Marvel's, it's selling in the bottom half of Marvel's books, but it's a book I have a little bit of good time with. It's more serious. It's not so much just joyous fun, but it's not a bad book. Kyle Higgins joint there. Spider-Man Deadpool, I have no idea how this book is still hanging around, but it is. 44th issue of the series, 117 overall in the chart, 18,195 in terms of sales go, 570 less than the previous month, and a 3% drop. So I guess maybe that's why it hangs around. It's kind of got a steady crowd that follows it. I read the first couple story arcs and I just had enough. It wasn't good, wasn't great, but I just didn't keep buying it. Mr. and Mrs. X, issue 7 in the series, 119 on the charts. 17,864 copies of this one out. 811 less than the previous month, a 5% drop. Then the second follow-up issue of Spider-Man Deadpool for this month comes in at 120 overall on the charts. It's the 45th issue of the series, 17,749 copies out there, 446 less than the previous issue within the same month, a 3% drop. We got Ironheart's follow-up from issue number 1, which came out all the way in November. So this is January. Issue 2 skipped a month. 123rd on the overall charts. Not a great sign for our girl Ironheart here. 17,507 issues out there, 23,232 less than the previous month, which is 132% in terms of sales percentage points that it dropped. As Guardians of the Galaxy issue 5, 127 on the charts, 17,048 issues out there, 1,777 less than the previous month, a 10% drop. Second Marvel one-shot Journey into the Unknown Worlds, issue 1. One of these special things Marvel did last month, 16,529 issues sold. Shiri comes in at number 138 in the charts, fourth issue of the series, 15,445 issues out there, 2,616 less than last month, a 13% drop. War is Hell, another one of those Marvel one-shots. This is the War one, I believe, obviously. 139 on the charts, 15,387 copies out to stores. Weapon H, I think this is the conclusion to Aaron's favorite series ever in the history of series published by Marvel Comics. 141 on the charts, 14,626 copies out to shops. 1,600 less than the previous month, 11% drop in issues out there for the conclusion of the series. Not something you usually see a drop for a finale, but there it is in plain sight. We'll see what Hulk Fiends does next month. West Coast Avengers, 145 on the charts, issue 7 in the series, 14,439 copies out to shops, 1,437 less than the previous month, a 9.95% drop in sales. Miss Marvel number 37, 146 on the charts overall. 14,250 copies out to shops, 1,423 more than the previous month. So this had a slight boost, a 9.99% increase from November, because this did not have a issue in December, it seems. So November's 136 came out and 37 had a 10% boost. Killmonger issue 3 in the miniseries, another book Jim and I enjoy. Juan Ferrer is on the art here, looks fabulous. Brian Hill is the writer, telling a pretty tight story there. Killmonger prequel, essentially. 14,023 issues out for the third issue in the series, 3,374 less than the previous month, a 25% drop. So not great numbers, but it's been a good book. 184 on the charts is Runaways number 17, 10,054 issues out there, 485 less than the previous month, a 5% drop. Conclusion to the Iceman miniseries, I believe, issue 5, 191 overall as far as comic book sales chart goes, 9,800 issues out to shops, 679 less than the previous month, so dropping under that 10,000 mark, and a 7% drop. Shatterstar penultimate issue, 195 on the charts, 9,752 copies out there, 1,469 less than the previous month, and a 15% drop. Exiles final issue, number 12, 199 on the charts, 9,645 issues out to shops, 1,030 less than the previous month, a 10% drop. So all these series, some of these coming to a close. I was ripping on Aaron's Weapon H prematurely, all of these with huge drops in numbers, double percentage points for their last issue, which is very strange. I would at least finish the book if I've stuck with it that long. Hell, I got hashtag 39 to go in Tom King's run on Batman, and I'm debating just sticking it out. So, I could stick out a 5-issue mini or a 12-issue maxi and see that through to the end. Some of these people are crazy to me. Unbeatable Squirrel Girl comes in after Exiles. 218 overall in the charts, issue 40 in that series, 8,257 copies out to stores, 1,207 less than the previous month, a 15% drop for her as she nears the War of the Realms tie-in territory. Maybe that's not doing this book any favors. We'll see. 250 on the charts is the Unstoppable Wasp, issue 4. I think this was the issue Jim really, really enjoyed, but it's only out in comic shops in the form of 6,613 copies, 1,124 less than the previous month, a 17% drop. So both these mini series that they brought back, for whatever reason, Iceman and Unstoppable Wasp, are in the bottom 5 of terms of sales of Marvel books sold, and seemingly have very, very limited interest to people out there. I don't know why they keep putting them out other than that one issue Jim enjoyed. That could just be a random annual or one shot you put out, though. If you got like message books, people might dig. Anyway, the final book on the charts here, because I skipped all the True Believers, I pulled out all the Star Wars stuff. So if you're interested in any of those, which did kind of sell higher than some of these books at the bottom of this Marvel chart here, especially the bottom 10. You can go to Comic-Con where I pull these numbers from and peek at those yourselves. But Moon Girl issue 39, the last Marvel book I'll talk tonight, has 5,878 issues out there in the wild, 624 copies less than the previous month. It's a 10% drop in terms of sales. And that is it, folks. I am out of here. This is the conclusion of issue 5 of the Sales and Solicits podcast. I apologize for it being slightly late. February ends so quickly. It's only a few less days, but I feel like it ends much quicker than the other months. Um, so that's my excuse for this being slightly late. I hope you accept my apologies. But that's the numbers for you. You got anything to say, holler at me, guys. You know where to find me. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will be back in the month of March with another Sales and Solicits. So we'll have episodes 6 and 7 coming to you guys shortly. Hope you'll join me then. But in the meantime, hope your comics are good, and peace out, guys.